Most of us don't remember when we started chasing beauty. We just woke up one day, when we're old enough to conceptualize it, we realized we were far behind. Somewhere between Sunday school and social media, we learned that whether it was a billboard or what we saw on TV or what we saw in movies and in our neighborhoods, in our communities and schools, we saw that beauty is rewarded. It's celebrated. It's loud and it's visible. But the kind of beauty God calls precious is different from the kind that the world applauds. One is cultivated, one is consumed. Proverbs 31:30 says, "Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord shall be praised." I remember in high school, I was part of this health careers program and I was one of the top students. And I remember my senior year, we were expanding the program and they wanted to do some promotional material and needed students on the cover of these pamphlets. And they just needed 3. And my teacher, without thinking about it, chose the 3 girls you would assume was the most visibly beautiful, aesthetically pleasing. But I remember raising my hand as a volunteer because I felt in some way I deserved it because I worked very hard. But as fast as my hand went up was as fast as those 3 names came out of her mouth. And mind you, these 3 ladies, they were not the top students. I knew these girls personally and they took so many shortcuts. In a way, they were able to exercise a certain privilege because of their looks. And I didn't think it was fair. So all these things made me feel, and that's just one example, but there are many times where I felt I have so much catching up to do. And even if I did, I would have to go through extreme measures just to change the way that I look. And on the flip side, so many of us were taught that godly beauty meant being invisible, never drawing attention, don't try too hard, very minimal makeup, if any. And in some way, holiness meant invisibility. But here's the truth that we need to understand. God never said that beauty was the enemy. He said that beauty is empty when it stands alone, when that's all a woman has going for herself, when there's nothing more than just a pretty face. You can be adorned without being obsessed about the way you look. You can still doll yourself up, but still know that your worth is much deeper. But there are some of us that beauty was something we were praised for. And so you go to the gym, you take care of yourself, you look your best, and you still feel empty and unworthy inside. What happens when you check all the boxes and yet nobody claps for you, nobody recognizes you, and people say, oh, you're pretty, but then they pass you by and they move on to someone else who's prettier? That's when you and me have to remember that God's standard of beauty has never been about the external. Because man looks on the outside, but God looks at the heart. Your beauty is soul deep. It's quiet. It lives inside. And maybe not everybody gets to see that. But most people who are vain inside can't see your beauty. So they pass you by or they go for someone else. But really, somebody who comes along and can see that person has proven themselves worthy. This kind of beauty, God's standard of beauty, is lasting. As you age, as you wrinkle, as you sag, as you thin out, and you go through stages of aging that we all have to face one day. That beauty that you've cultivated, the God kind of beauty, is lasting and sometimes more powerful than the signs of aging on your external body. This series, She Shall Be Praised, is not about throwing away your makeup, okay? And it's not about wearing paper bags and potato sacks as clothes. And it's also not about pretending you don't care about how the way you look. It's about relearning what God defines as beautiful. and thus letting that define how we carry ourselves as women, how we speak, how we live, how we treat others, how we use our gifts. Each episode is designed to focus on a trait that attracts God, that gets his gaze, not the male gaze, not the female gaze, but his gaze. So this week, before episode 2 comes out, I want you to ask yourself, what kind of beautiful am I becoming? Search your heart. Not do I look good, but am I growing and cultivating what is going to last through the passage of time? Next time, we'll unpack more of Proverbs 31, this verse itself, and look at the kind of favor and character that actually holds up in real life. The types of things that actually really matter, no matter who the beholder of the beauty is. Stay tuned and join me every Monday for She Shall Be Praised. And I look forward to growing with you myself in this series, and I look forward to hearing from you and what you're most looking forward to.